First and foremost, everyone here ready to learn some really cool stuff? My goal today is for you to start looking at workouts in such a way where you know what you want out of them before you even start them. So like when it comes to eating food, I think one of the biggest things that I like to teach people is you should be able to look at whatever you're eating and ask yourself, what is this going to do for me? Is it going to get me closer to my goals? So like every time that you eat, you literally are thinking about that to the point to where every single action that you make at all point in time is always getting you closer to your goals. Like I always like, train with purpose, eat with purpose. We're not gonna get into too much of the eating unless you guys do that for Q&A, then I'll absolutely hit that. But in terms of training today, I want you guys to look at your training as like, when I go into the gym today, is every single thing that I'm doing going to get me closer to my goals? So the first thing that we need to do whenever we go into the gym, whenever we have a goal, is ask ourselves, what is our goal? Because if we don't know what our goal is, AKA what are we training for, it's very, very hard to get to that goal. Because every single person in here, including myself, including all the coaches here, everyone at some point in time is like, I want to be ripped. I want to be jacked. I want to be this. I want to be that. I'm going on vacation in 4.5 days and I want to just be absolutely just shredded out of my mind. But also, like, I really want to be super jacked for like this one photo shoot that I'm doing, and it's like, you start changing all these goals all the time. The more you change goals, basically the more you just keep spinning your wheels and just things just get really, really hard. A lot of us come from a functional fitness background. And because we come from a functional fitness background, we have a cardio junkie background. And because we have a cardio junkie background, it also helps us spin our wheels a ton. So I'm gonna show you exactly why that is here in a second. So this is called a volume chart. Now this is gonna be the one thing today that will be burned in your memory forever. And right now it looks like fucking something written on the back of the pyramids and you're like, holy shit, what is that? But I'm gonna explain it in a second. So every single one of our body parts has a specific amount of training volume that is required to build that muscle group. So MEV is minimal effective volume. This is like minimal effective. This is like the minimum that you need to do to start making a change in that muscle, right? So this is like the bare minimum. Once we hit that, we start to like make changes. MAV is max adaptable volume. This is where you should be spending the majority of your time and making the majority of your gains. And then this red area is max recoverable. And this is where you can't hang out for that long, maybe like 1 week. All right, so the majority of your gains is gonna be right in here. And everything starts here. And then this one on the end, this is our maintenance. And this is gonna be a really mind-blowing piece for you guys as well. So if everything starts here, and then everything gets to about here, we're gonna be spending the majority of our time like right in this section here, and we're only gonna be here for like a week at a time. So now let me start to make this even easier to understand. So now if I start to build out a training program and I want my back to get bigger, I want my chest to get bigger, I want my glutes to get bigger, like let's just use those 3 for example. I want to make sure that my training program starts around 10 for chest, 10 for back, and then 0 for glutes, interestingly enough. Because glutes is so, it's one of those things that like, it really did happen like in the womb kind of thing. Where like a lot of people like, most of the best glute programs that you've seen out there from people who are selling glute programs, like they literally were just born with that kadunk, and it just kind of is the way it is. And funny enough, because like the majority of your gains happen between 4 to 12 sets, this is per week, by the way. So like 4 to 12 sets is like not that much, it's just really good quality movement. Like if you guys think about it, like if you did 3 sets of back squats, that's 3 sets. What science is showing us is that 4 to 12 sets per week is like really, really good for you guys to grow your glutes. And then at the optimal, like the very, very top of the range is like 16 plus. If you look at like any famous glute program these days, they're like 30, 40 sets per week. And it's because you think that you need that. So you're like, oh, this is the program for me. I'm gonna keep doing my glutes and doing my glutes. And what happens when you work your glutes every single day? Your glutes don't really get bigger. Glutes just fucking stay the same. So what happens is you wind up getting into this red zone and you do too much red zone. And this is exactly what happens when we do a lot of functional training and a lot of CrossFit training, is we wind up getting into a place where we start with like regular 1-hour classes, and then we quickly, after like 3 to 6 months, we kind of tap out on our gains. We get our newbie gain phase. So most of us, no matter what we do, if we go from like walking and then we come into a gym and you do anything, you're gonna wind up getting really great results. And it doesn't really matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're doing a bodyweight program at home. It doesn't matter if you're doing weightlifting. It doesn't matter like what's going on. You could be doing Orange Theory, F45, these things that I absolutely hate. But it doesn't matter what you do, because in that first 3 to 6 month period, your body is just like soaking up every single thing that's happening, and it's making really big changes in your body. But after that, you have to get smart. So like every single app out there that's body weight only, it's only working for the demographic of people who are new to fitness. And when you're new to fitness, everything just works really, really well. But after that, this becomes extremely important. So what happens is, as we start to train and we get over that newbie period, we have to start making like really smart decisions in our training so that we can start to actually make changes. Like I was talking about with the CrossFit analogy, because I come from a CrossFit background as well. After that 1 hour class goes by, you start to make friends in that gym and you're like, you want to work out after and work out for like another hour and like do this other stuff? And then you're like, yeah. And then like, then you do like the 2 hours and all of a sudden a couple months go by and you're like, damn, I'm jacked and I'm getting more ripped. And you're like, well, yeah, because if you come into a CrossFit class, you typically do like back squat and then a Metcon, right? And then like bench press and then a Metcon, right? So like overall, you're like never really getting above this like MEV range, which is like your minimal effective range. So now you work out with your friends and you start to dip into this area here, so you start getting more results. But you're still doing Metcons at the end of all your lifting. So what happens is you just wind up being in the gym for a really, really long time. So you could just take that time and just lift and never do any Metcons and still get insane results with way less time. But you wind up like doing a lift and then a Metcon and a lift and a Metcon. And the more you keep doing it, you start to see more and more results. And you think it's because you're doing more high intensity exercise, but it's really just because you're just doing more volume of lifting overall. You're not actually getting more fit from all of the other stuff, interestingly enough. And the more that you're doing in the Metcon portion, it's taking away the energy that you need to come in and perform in your actual weightlifting. So like for any of you who've ever gotten stronger during a period of time or a block of training, like as you get stronger, your body puts on more muscle mass and you also get leaner. And you'll notice that. And then as soon as you stop chasing goals, you just keep coming in the gym and just working out with no goal actually attached to it, is when your results start to flatten out. So there's two ways that we can build muscle. And one of them is mechanical tension, so increasing the load. And the other one is just getting a really, really big pump and just pumping a lot of blood into that muscle group. So those are the only really two ways that you can really do it. But your body will not put on muscle and will not change unless it has a new stimulus. So what that means is, like if you squat 3 sets of 5 at 300 pounds and then you squat 3 sets of 5 at 305 pounds, that is something that your body has never had happen before. It's never done that before. So now it's telling it that I need to create bigger muscles and be stronger for next time. But if you always squat 3 sets of 5 at 300 pounds, nothing will ever happen. Your body will not change anymore. There's no reason for it to do it.